Hi, everyone. I'm Lavonda.
And I'm Diana, and we are Homeschoolific.
For
Welcome.
those of you that don't know, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And
Okay. We already have two people. It's probably like Bishop in the other room. They watch our kids watch us.
that's so sweet. Mine do not. Mine do
Yeah,
not.
Bishop. He like 100% watches us as we're live and gives me some feedback. So
My husband does
joy, oh
that.
joy.
Not always wanted, but appreciated nonetheless.
So
So, should we get started, or do you want to go ahead
hi, Janet.
and hi Janet? I'm gonna pull up because I feel like I'm so blind. I don't get to see all the things that's happening. So I'm gonna pull up my YouTube over here. I'll mute it. Don't get any feedback because I'm like, I want to see the feed. I want to say hi to everybody. So
So while you're doing that,
yeah, that,
how's your day been? Or we're kind of just coming together. We haven't really had much conversation at all today, really.
no, it's been a busy day. I'm wrapping up my work, and I will not be working anymore. So excited about that.
Yeah.
How's your day going?
It's been good. I literally washed my hair. It's currently deep conditioning, so I wrapped it so I look like somebody coming on here. So I don't know why it was pressing. It's been dirty all week, but it was pressing this afternoon, like that I wash it and deep condition it. So it's wrapped up real tight.
It's like that. You know how our brain tells us, you need to do this right now. That's me,
Urgent.
8 o'clock at night. I'm going to just throw these, whatever in the canner. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I'm so tired. It's stupid. I hate that. I hate that my brain does that to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, who's sabotaging who here? Oh, me.
Right?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
problem.
it's the thing. Yeah. All right, let's talk about our topic today. And I got the I got the feed showing. So yeah, you do that with genealogy. Oh, really? No way, Janet. That's funny. I don't
That's
know if I'm a
hilarious.
researcher in the middle of the night, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Is my sound fine? Okay, good. All right, so today, guys, we are talking about. We did a little poll, and I think I think the top 10 checklist is the thing that won. And so we are actually talking about our top, Lavana and I, our top 10s. Um, you know, about if we had the same, I think you're going to get five, Lavana, and I'm going to get five. Is that correct?
Okay.
I
Sure.
froze.
You're back
Did I?
again.
Oh, so sorry,
It's because
guys.
what you're
That's
watching is delayed. So what while she's doing that, I kind of have my setup. I'm working on our schoolroom right now. You know how you're setting everything up? It is really already set up, but I wanted to rearrange a few things. So things are in random places. And so, right, love those internet connections. So I've got like a computer behind me and my laptop next to me. So if you see me looking this way, it's because I use my laptop, and I guess it would be helpful if I kind of like moved it. This is how I mainly work, and our kids focus on using the computer behind me. So my list is over here. So Diana, are you all set, or you want me to start mine? I'm going to move it over here in my lap, actually. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started on my list while we're waiting for Diana. So, um, the top 5 things you're break. Okay, you sound better. Can you say something else? No, it's breaking up again. We had no problems while we were literally waiting before going live. While here, like in limbo where YouTube puts you, um, everything was fine. Okay, but I've got my laptop here, and I'm gonna go over like my checklist for the top, uh, my top 5, I guess. Uh-oh. So one of the first things that I like to make sure I've done before I start a new school year is that my record keeping is up to date for the previous year. Now, normally, I'm not doing a whole lot of things. If my kids are lower elementary, I'm not updating things. I'm just like fishing out old papers, cleaning up their little file, like important things that my kids have, I like to keep, and I keep it in our closets in our schoolroom. There's a system that we have. So we keep that in there. And our so I kind of fish through my boys who are in elementary. I fish through their old things, keep the things that I really want to keep that are important, and then I throw away the things that are not as important to me. For my high schooler, though, there is a fair amount of record keeping involved. You lost Diana; she'll be back. There's a fair amount of record keeping involved. So I like to make sure like that's up to date. Depending on what your high schooler's goals are, I think it changes how you keep records. But I really think it's important if you're not keeping records anytime before high school, which is depending on the state you live in. We live in Texas. We don't have to keep anything, but I do just to be safe. However, my high schooler it is essential that I keep records for her. There's no if, ands, or buts about that one. So what I want to make sure is that I've got all her grades and things like that on her transcript accurate and up to date before we start a new school year. So that is the first thing that is a part of my checklist that I kind of do over the summertime. Um, Diana's coming back to us.
I'm trying. So sorry.
Okay. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So the next really important thing on my top 10 checklist for the next school year is organizing our schedule. Now, we people like to say schedule or routine, whatever works best. Yes, record keeping is going to be helpful for college applications. Always, always, always. And I have a child, my daughter, who's going into her junior year. It is she's college bound, and that's her goal. And so my job is to keep up with that, right? To make sure I'm helping her reach that goal. So um with the schedule part, I always do this. I always like to keep a really nice schedule, and sometimes I make it so tight. It's like, okay, this, and we're gonna do this during this time frame, and I overload it. And in that first week, I have to like readjust and fix things, and it's never ideal. But this year, much better, much better. I've kept it pretty light on our schedule. Um, I think scheduling, even if you don't have like a time, I kind of give ourselves time slots. So from from 9 to 12, we have school work, and I give us, I make sure each child knows what they're doing during that time, what we're doing. And then we have a break, and then maybe 2 more hours, depending on the child. It may be longer. Like my high schooler, her day is a bit longer than my boys because they're in elementary and she's in a high school. And so their schedule looks very different. You're really close, Diana.
I don't know what's happening here. None of this that's going on the screen is what's happening on my phone. It's the weirdest thing. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
This is so wild. I mean, like, I feel cursed. It was fine. Oh gosh.
Do you think we should pause?
Oh gosh. All right, can you hear me okay? Like,
Yeah, I
can
can
you
hear you
hear?
fine.
All
I see
right.
you and I
I'm
hear
so
you.
sorry, guys. All right. Hopefully that's the end of it. But at least it's not falling this time.
Right?
Oh, I can't believe we did this twice and there was no issues, and now it's like, oh, you're live. Let me just bring all that up. Anyways, okay, I think I'm here.
Okay. Glad to have you back. So scheduling is always a big one. Yeah, absolutely. We can assist you with guidance. We'll reach out to you after this and give you some info if you could, or you can email us at homeschoolific@gmail.com and we'll reach out to you. So scheduling is a really big deal for me. I know some people like to play it loose, and I'm not one of those people. I need to know what we're doing every day, and I have some of my kids are like that. They like to know what our day is going to look like, and they
Thanks.
they need to know when they're done. My boys need to know when they can go and do other things. They want to
I
know
feel
it's
like a
not.
shut off time is really important too.
Yes, yes. So like having that, knowing when it ends, and that they can do their thing and I can do other things because I still do other things now. Diana mentioned that she is wrapping up work, and I wrapped up work at my job, which was anyway. At my job the week
Now you
before.
gotta say it.
I know, right? So we worked from home, but we worked for the same company. And so my last day was last Friday. So this whole week I've kind of really been like punching it, right? So transforming everything, right? Just getting everything, the last little bits of things together. And so yeah, I've had more time to focus on this, but work is not done. Like that work is done, but this work has begun. So like Homeschoolific is going to start looking much more active on YouTube and even more on social media and other things, emails, all the things. We're just working on stuff. But anyway, so the scheduling part is a really big deal for me. Once our school day is done, I need to know like if we have activities where we're going. That is important for me. So whether it's on our calendar or on our schedule for the day, I'm all about scheduling. Yeah, the parameters help them have hope on a tough. It does to hope on tough days, and for
It
me
really
too. But
does.
I'm definitely not afraid to just stop and say, you know what, we're gonna stop for now. Let's just stop. We're gonna play a game if it's getting really tense, and then maybe read a book and they have a snack or play Legos while I'm reading to them or something like that. But the next major thing that's on my homeschool checklist as I'm getting ready for a new homeschool year, and I realize not everyone has a homeschool space or homeschool room. Most people have an area where they homeschool, right? Whether it's at the dining room table or in a room or in a space in your home. For me, it's a room. It's an extra bedroom that we have in our home, And a big thing for me is organizing that space. I like to feel fresh again. Like, I mean, I'm rearranging things. I like things, I
Mm-hmm.
need them to clear out their spaces. We used to have a table that we schooled on, and then a couple years ago we had, because of the space that we were homeschooling in, we had desks. So we still have those desks. And so, like, a part of their part of it is organizing, like cleaning out things that were not, that shouldn't still be there. And so,
Yeah.
setting up our homeschool space is a really big
Mm-hmm.
deal for me. It's really big. I like it to feel like, I'm all about making sure it looks inviting, smells inviting. I got the diffuser going. It's a whole deal. Like, it needs to like appeal to all of our senses to like pull us into this area. And so that's always my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess my number 4 would be um our first day of school. Trying to set up what our first day of school is going to look like. It's always a bit more relaxed than most other days, and it's just a fun day. So whether we're going places, I always have a little treat for them, a special gift. I decorate the table at breakfast. I'm doing all the things. I'm making favorite meals. Like, it needs to feel like fun. We're going through. I do my best to try and make it as exciting as possible, because I want them to be eager to learn and eager to start the new school year, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to, to start off on the right foot. It's like getting all out of bed on the right side. So that's
Yeah,
what I want them to
totally.
feel like. It's like this fun thing we're gonna do, even though we
First
know
day of
that
school should always feel exciting.
yes, no, whether it's first day of school, in school, or homeschool, and especially homeschool, we get to curate our day and decide what it's gonna look like. So, like, I'm not some, this our first day of school. Part of the day, we're not even gonna be at home. So, like, that, there's a whole thing that's happening.
You didn't like the dining room table, Janet? I can see it. Well, yeah, because it's a shared space. I can see that.
yeah,
I think it depends on your family dynamics too. We did like the dining room table, and so I kind of stuck with that because I like it.
yeah.
I
I
mean, I
prefer
have like
a
a dining room
table.
table in
Yeah,
our classroom,
schoolroom.
but we kind of, yeah. I'll get to mine after Lavonda's done.
It is also my preference is also a table, so we're kind of like working in one space. But as my daughter has gotten much, there's a big gap between her and my oldest son. So she's number 1, he's number 2, and there's a 5-year gap between them. She likes her own space, and I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that. So, but I would love to have a big old table again up in our school space. But we school all over. Sometimes we're down on the couch downstairs in the living room, or we have a couch in our schoolroom. We'll be here. We'll be in the kitchen. It's everywhere. But setting up those spaces so that they're functional is going to be is important to me. So you guys will see a homeschool room tour this year. It's coming. Last year I had
Supposed to be
nothing.
happening.
It was nothing last year. I just had to get in here and start. But this year there will be a homeschool room tour. Um, and last but not least for me, um, the one thing that really is important to me when I'm setting up or getting ready for a new school year is our budget. I need to know how much money I can spend. I usually already know. I want to say curriculum because that is important, but if I don't know how much money I have to spend, it doesn't really matter what I really, really want. I need to see like what is in our budget, what do we need, um,
Mhm.
how can I make this work, and the spender in me enjoys it does. It enjoys having as much as I can get for our homeschool year. As much of a budget, I try and write things down, or if I'm on Amazon and I've got my list or whatever, I show my husband to make sure like he'll approve of my list. Hey, do I have approval to hit buy? Can I hit send? Paid buy now, whatever it is. That's a really big deal for me because that decides we like to add things. I need to know if I can go to Lakeshore Learning this year. There's so many things. But
Oh,
yeah, those are, it's not I don't know if those are my top five, but those are very important vibes for me. My top, it's not those are important things, so that's what I gave.
cool. I think we have some similarities, but you and I are, I think we're not total polar opposites, but we're definitely different. My homeschool planning, and so I should mention that we will have a list out for purchase on our website for new homeschoolers and for established homeschoolers. It'll be just a very nominal fee, and you guys can download this on our website, and you'll be able to have a checklist. And it's going to be a wonderful checklist. And we're actually using this checklist as part of our guide to go off
Yes.
of. So just keep that in mind. It's coming. If you haven't visited our website already, go to www.homeschoolific.com. Also, thank you for hanging in with my technical difficulties. They may be more because I'm out here living this rural life. And so I thought, oh, by 4 o'clock, my internet will still be good. But after 5, things changes. I guess today was different. Who knows? Anyways, um, so my checklist actually starts at the end of last school year. At the end of last school year, I tend to go ahead and evaluate how I felt about this year. Like, where was our strengths? Where was our weaknesses? That's a big deal for me because usually this is the point where I'm saying, so and so needs this. They did really good on here, but they need this and we're lacking. And so those are the places where I start at. And I think if you're an established homeschooler or you've been homeschooling, this is a great place to go to. I honestly think they should be doing this in school, period. Think about how much stronger the kids would be the next school year if you knew where their weaknesses were the year before instead of spending months figuring it out. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think that's like a good idea. um, so that's like my one of my first things. In that, I'm probably looking throughout the summer to get researching or whatever. I'm also going to sell because whatever my budget is, I want more on top of that. So I'm going to sell my items. I can have a bigger budget. So that's and that's one of the things that I think is so cool about being a homeschooler. Not only can you buy used, but you can also sell used. And
Hmm.
that really helps the budget. It also will extend your budget even further. And you're also helping another homeschool parent that may not be able to afford those items brand new. So,
Right.
so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be selling my items. And then after that, we do so we're about to do this before our school year starts. Our school year starts at the last week of August. And my kids get like 2 weeks. We normally do like free for all, but I've had to pull this back a little bit and I'll tell you guys why. So normally we just give them 2 weeks off. They can do whatever they want and go to bed when they want, wake up when they want. But it was killing us trying to get them back on track. So we don't do that anymore. They just get like 2 weeks where they don't have to do anything extremely structural, but they have to get up and go to sleep the right time. That makes sense, right? So they have to get up. But outside of that, we just go to the library, we just do fun stuff. And the whole idea of this is that we kind of miss our structure. And because we miss our structure, everybody's very excited to get back into our structure. So I give the kids 2 weeks off. I know this sounds like it's something else, but this is actually part of my homeschool planning and it's a very big part of it. They look forward to it. I look forward to it. This is where my hardcore planning, organizing, everything goes into while they're doing whatever. I'm taking care of the classroom. I'm taking care of the schedule. I use Homeschool Planet for my planning. I put all that stuff in there so that it's all planned out for the year. That is my 2 weeks to do. And then I take the last 5 days before we start school and I do as little as possible. Like I potato to a level that you guys would be surprised about. I don't do nothing. And so at least I try not to. And then we get ready for the new school year and then we're excited about the new school year. So those are like my upfront 3 things. After that, and I would say this goes along with that, is the planning. And I got to plan field trips. I got to know what big events are happening. I got to know what vacations are happening so that I can make sure we got enough school time in and that we have it all there. I do plan each day, but I'm kind of an open and go girl in a lot of ways. Um, spelling past homeschool material, oh, selling, yeah, I'm telling you, it's golden. And when those years, you have leaner years than others, it gets you
Mm,
through. Like you'd be
yeah.
surprised. You can sometimes pay for everything throughout the school year with selling certain items and certain things like Sunlight and Barton. Those sell well, and they if you sell them the right time of the year, they sell at very like hot like top dollar. They're really good. I digress though. Sorry. um so yeah, so that is so yeah, so my fourth thing is that I am planning so that way like when we lose our way, we have our routine. And I hate to say schedule, I would say like routine. I'm not extremely rigid about my routine, but I need a guide. If we don't have a guide, we get lost. Also because I homeschool eclectically, it's a way to screw it, have a plan. So I need a plan to make sure that I kind of have this thing going on right. Um, so yeah, so then our last thing is organizing the schoolroom. I also try to organize the house as much as possible because what happens through the school year is that things get messy, and I really struggle with starting a school year with a really messy house. Anybody that knows me knows that my house is never pristine. It's not necessarily my goal, but I do need a level of where we can explore, we can do things. Something we can grab to walk out the door when we're on our way out to the library or to field trip or whatever, and that people don't have to be looking for shoes and socks and stuff like that. That is like a pet peeve of mine. I don't like that. And so, and we go a lot. Like when the school year happens, we're busy. Like there's something going on 4 to 6 days a week. There's That's just how it is. We have multiple kids. That's just what it is in our life. So that's important to us. And is a top five, but I think that's one of the things is like if you notice our tops are different because it goes to our life. So you want to go by a list and see what's the top, but also cater it to your life. My
Right. Nice. I also think that while like these may be your top five, the list that we've kind of put together for the checklist for the new homeschooler, and also the one for your annual checklist for existing or current homeschoolers. I think I don't know that there's anything missing. Like there's something that's on there that's like, if you're not at least doing 80% of those things on the list, are you even homeschooling? Like that's what there's some things where they're just non-negotiables. Like you really need to do these things. So I think that's why like the list is really important, and having a list that you go by, because sometimes people are just playing it by ear. Like, all right, oh no, let me do this. Oh, let me do that. And even some of us experienced homeschoolers play it by ear occasionally, but not because we want to. It's because like life happens and you're like, let me just, oh no, I gotta hurry do these things, right? So
But
that's
that's
why
where a plan helps though, right?
it does. It lets you know. It also it'll help expedite the things that you didn't have, or expedite the things that you didn't plan before, and you need to do it in a hurry. You don't have to think about it. You just go, you do it. I think that's why, and check it off, right? Because
Hmm.
that's the good thing about checklists. And if you're depending on your personality type, what is it, A type people like to check lists, right? We like to make sure,
Even if you're like dual like me, we still like lists. I'm
yeah.
AB. I think I'm all of them depending on the situation. It's www.homeschoolific.com. So you spell homeschool and
I'll put it in there.
ific.com in the chat for her because she's awesome. But yeah, like that's also having a list. Like it doesn't mean it's supposed to be like your ruler, but it definitely should help you, in this journey. It's a process.
It is.
So okay. So we've talked about planning and we did our due diligence and we have time. Do you think we should talk about to co-op or to not co-op as well?
Oh yeah. Why not?
Because I was literally thinking, what if we could fit in both? And I think we can.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the question, right? To co-op or to not
Hmm.
co-op. And I definitely think it depends on your how much you need to outsource for the year. Like what is your family life looking like currently? Um, if it can't be something that's outsourced, because some co-ops are require that, they're an actual cooperative where parents have to teach or help in some way and be present, right? And then you got the ones like what we have here in Texas, One Day Academy, um, because we have both types. One where you pay an expert to teach your kids and other students, right? And you don't it's much more hands off. You don't have to teach. You can volunteer if you want, but you don't have to, kind of thing. Um, and I think it depends on your needs. I think what is your preference, Diana?
For co-ops?
Yeah, to co-op or not co-op, right?
Well, mine. I co-op.
But they don't.
Oh, yeah. That's true, right? Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I am. I've been co-oping for the most part for at least 10 years. I find it an effective way to homeschool and not have to do everything on myself. I bought into my first couple years. I bought into the lie that it all has to be me, and I quickly learned that I wasn't enough, and I burned out really hard. Like a lot of people have a great first year. My first year was horrible,
Mhm.
and then my second year was okay. It was pretty good, but then when I got pregnant again, and a wife, she said, if your kids can't do any kind of school without you, you have missed happens, which things happen. That's why teachers have substitutes, right? Then they lack an education. And so I think that kind of just changed my mind. And also, my kids are extremely opposite of their mama. They need to be out with people. And it was like, if we didn't have that, my kids would not have liked homeschooling. They would have not enjoyed it at all and they wouldn't have wanted it. So we needed to be a part of a homeschool community. So that was a big deal for my kids. That was like it had to happen. And then also too, I needed someone to teach science labs. I don't really care to do science labs. Honestly, I buy all the stuff and I almost never do them. So being a part of a co-op helps me in that a lot. Also too, like in places where I'm weak, like I mentioned our last live, y'all do not want me teaching certain things when it comes to grammar and it really helps divide the work. You don't want me doing some of these things by myself. Now you could do it with a book, like we use books and they do a great job, but I've got people who are gifted in here and this is what they love to do. Go for it. We don't really do core things too much, but I'm just using that as an example. I tend to
Right.
keep that home, but these electives and stuff like that, it keeps it fun for the kids, keeps me from having to do all that. And so yeah, I've out good homeschool groups that had co-ops for 10 years. Yeah. So yeah, I'm for it. What about you, Lavonda?
It depends on the year. I think I used to always be go for co-op. But lately, I have not always, I haven't felt the pull to be a part of a co-op as much. Last year, my daughter did do co-op. And okay, so the year before was the first year we hadn't done it in like really since we moved. I think we missed 1 year when we moved to Las Vegas or something like that. Um, but last year, once we left, when we moved here to Texas at the end of 2020, I had
Mm-hmm.
no desire to put any of our kids in a co-op because I didn't want to teach other people's kids. And it wasn't because I had bad experiences. I actually really enjoy teaching. But I also know, thank you. I also know how much time and energy that I put into like put building lesson plans and making it exciting and fun for other people's kids. And it does pull from what I do for my kids. I do those same things, but it's like I got a whole day where I don't give while they are getting some things, right? Because they would be participating in co-op as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's an exhausting day. Let's just be honest. If you're teaching, doing all the things, and because I also taught multiple classes, and it made it so that I don't think I forget how it was, but I'm pretty sure like we didn't have to pay for our kids because of that. And so, which is really nice, but I'm working for this, like
They
you're putting
don't do
me
that for us. We still pay full price to
yeah, oh
teach.
yeah. So
Yeah.
last year, my daughter did One Day Academy here in Texas, and there are multiple locations all over. Um, it
It's
allowed
not
me.
a co-op though. That's different.
It is they consider it a co-op, and I've seen other co-ops like this in Michigan, um, where because that's originally where I'm from, where the parents and the kids, and there's a specialist that teaches them the subjects. You don't necessarily have to be there for all of the sub, for a whole day. In some cases, like One Day Academy, you could choose the 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 subject that you want taught essentially, and then you pay for that class, and you pay amount of money. Like you're paying
Mm-hmm.
for you to not be there. And it's essentially it kind of feels more like a small private school type of setup, really. Um,
Yeah.
and my daughter took 2 classes there last year, which really helped because I was working, and I couldn't do it all. I just couldn't. Though taking those couple things off my plate made it so much easier. But I
Mm-hmm.
am choosing not to co-op this year, and I'm not saying we'll never go back again. I did like the One Day Academy idea, right? Because when you're in that busy season, it's nice to go like someone I know, there's a place that seems to do it really well, and they could teach you these things. But also,
Yeah.
this upcoming year, I chose to dual enroll her at the community college, local community college. So it required that, like she had to do some testing, which I don't mind. And she also, like, we had to get some things in order so that she can go and do it, which is fine. But it also, I actually like that better, the idea of dual enrolling our kids as opposed to co-op, because here in Texas, at least in our area, the first 12 classes, we don't pay for the class. We just pay for the curriculum, any textbooks or anything like that are required.
Mm-hmm.
But college books are expensive. So
Yeah. The
yeah,
price of a co-op class.
uh, right. If after so many, yes, it's still
Yeah.
much cheaper than we paid. But
Then One
I
Day
like that.
Academy. Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah.
like that. But I think that's kind of the course that I'm leaning toward, because you can start doing our dual enrolling our kids in ninth grade, and I would prefer. She said the cost is another reason why they don't co-op.
Yes.
Some places it's really expensive, like One Day Academy.
Texas.
When I
Texas is very expensive.
when I put the numbers in for how much I spent on those 2 classes for the whole year, it knocked me over a little bit, because that was that would have been almost like a third of our homeschool budget on a really, really like a really extravagant year, right? Because we know
Yeah.
sometimes our homeschool budgets are a bit leaner, but in this in a season of plenty, that would have been a third of our budget. So I was like, ooh, it took me back. It took me back. So yeah, I'm I'm team not to co-op this year. And since we've been in Texas, I've kind of been team not co-op. So for the last couple of years.
I find the cost to be something that is, I mean, in Las Vegas, our co-ops were very inexpensive. In the one I ran, we charge pennies compared to what they charge here. It's not really the co-op's fault. It's the facilities they require this amount of money to meet. And we were very fortunate to have very inexpensive facilities out there. You know, the churches, and it was usually the churches were really accommodating. And so
Mm-hmm.
we didn't spend a ton of money. And so it could keep it really cheap. So we paid $35 a semester. So like per child, you know what I'm saying? And which I pay 30 $30 a month for my two kids here, just to give you contrast. And so yeah, I do think so. Um, which isn't a terrible price. It's a good price, but it just was way more than what I was used to. And then One Day
Right.
Academy, we did that as well for my fourth child. And I liked it, but okay, this is why I say I really feel like it's very different. Like I feel like co-op is, because it's immersive, like you have to be involved, where One Day Academy was very hands off. And so while obviously was involved in his schoolwork he was doing at home, I just, it felt like school, like I've
Yeah.
done public school with my kids, I've done private school with my kids. And that's what it felt like. It felt like school, just the classes I get to pick. And in Las Vegas, you get to pick what, if you want your kids to participate in a class at the public schools, you can do that. And so it would be no difference necessarily. The only difference is obviously like they're like-minded, and like I knew the teachers, I knew like what kind of curriculum they were teaching. So it was a better
Right.
education, hands down. I don't dislike it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again. I just don't think it's like, if you're thinking you're doing the same thing as a co-op, I do think it's different, and I think people should understand that. But my son did like it. He did like it a lot, and he was happy with it. But he was also very happy with our co-op. So
Yeah.
I was kind of with Lavonda. Like, it was a good experience, but for the price, I don't know. And we weren't doing a core class. I think I would feel better about a core class. The facility cost is so hard.
Yeah.
Enrollment is different. Like
Yeah.
I think we did the homeschool convention, and I actually am very sold on the dual enrollment idea, but there's things there too. And so everything has a thing. So it's got to match your family. But
Yes.
there's also some dark sides of co-ops. Like people don't realize that co-ops often still can have bullies. It can still have cliques. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There still can be, and then it depends on the leadership. Um, you can have a great group of moms. It reminds me of like a really good doctor's office. I find that usually if I have a great doctor, the staff is lacking. You can have a great co-op where the people are amazing, but the leadership is like not great. And that
Mm,
leadership can make it hard to withstand that withstand. It's a thing. Or you can just have one bad apple in the group that really can kind of feed in, and they can get messy, let me just say it this way. I'm trying to choose my words right, like, well, forgive me guys, I don't know how to say it. I raise boys, and so I'm going to say some stuff that's probably not entirely PC. First, I'm going to say at first, I love being a woman and it's great. But when you get a whole lot of women in a area, they can get a little catty with each other, even if it's a religious homeschool group. And you have to be very careful about not falling into those things. Or if you find it, especially if you're a leader, trying to gently break those up because they do happen. Or if you can get the dads involved, inject some testosterone in there.
Yes, it
Like,
helps. It
so
helps.
those are,
Absolutely.
I love co-ops and I will probably always be a part of a co-op, but I am I do my due diligence and I know that there's some dark sides of co-ops for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And I think I did like a short in the car video. I think about the difference between a homeschool group and a co-op, and that they're not the same thing. I think homeschool groups are very important for community if you're homeschooling,
Yes.
whether it's just a couple of families that like this is our these are our people, we get together, we do activities, we do this, we support one another, whatever it is, or if you're actually a part of a larger homeschool group that doesn't do co-op, where they're not coming together to have their kids learn together. um, I think those are homeschool groups are very important, and that
Hmm.
every homeschooler should have some type of homeschool community in some way, even if it's not a homeschool group. Maybe you're a part of a group of people that homeschool and they do. I think that's still a type of homeschool group or homeschool community, right? But a homeschool co-op is not necessarily um, is it's not essential. I think it's not essential to
No.
you homeschooling your kids, but a homeschool community is. And so just so we know the difference, um, like we can be just fine without that, if we need it to be for most people. And but a community is that's where I think that's where people fall off. And
And
that's why
let me
there's a distinction. There has to be a distinction between the two.
you nailed it because here's the thing, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, but your kids are going to grow up one day and they're going to be very bitter that you gave them no community. You can think that you guys are all you need, but I've talked to a lot of young adult and even older homeschooled families, and one of the things that the kids really talked about was if their family did not give them a sense of community. Now, this might be your church or other things, but you need somebody outside of you because your kids do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might be cousins and whatever, but they want other kids, just like us moms. I think for us it's important, honestly, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes we don't know it. But we want to see people like know, like, is this normal? Well, what about this? What are you doing? We want to converse with each other. Kids want that
Right.
too. That's
Yeah.
important. So totally agree with Lavonda. While you can spend your whole homeschool years, never do a co-op, be perfectly fine, raise amazing children, having even just a couple of friends that are gonna have your back when it gets hard, man, that's important. That's
Absolutely. Thank you, Janet. She says, I think you've done a great job talking about both pros and cons of co-ops. Um, thank you. That's very sweet. I really, I 100% agree with you, Diana. The community is such a huge thing. And where we find ourselves in places where we haven't like had the community, we make the community, right? Which is kind
hmm
of what's happening now. But it is so important, especially
tell them what you're doing.
once you've gotten a taste of it. So like, how do I say this? Because we're Christian, and I firmly believe in what the Bible says, iron sharpening iron. It's not just in God's word. I feel like it's not just in the faith. It's also I see that need for homeschoolers as well. Like Diana was saying, it's important for us moms to get together with other moms who are like minded and on the same uh, trajectory as we are, like that are, and our kids need to be around. It's important for them to see other kids doing that too, right? So they can be encouraged in this, so they can know they're not doing this by themselves. And so at our,
Mhm.
I haven't been able to find a homeschool group here. Lots of co-ops don't want it. I don't, not now. I just don't want any of it. But um, a homeschool group, they just don't seem like they exist. So I started a not homeschool group at our church.
What I call it is a homeschool group. You can call
It is a homeschool community, and I really think it's important because there's so many of us there right now who homeschool, and unless they know something that I don't know, a lot of them that I've talked to have no real community unless their kids go to a co-op there at that co-op, and it's like very like, oh, this. But I think it's so important to have that encouragement for one another, um and to do activities with, to live life with. That is my goal, and so that's what I've begun at our church, here in the greater Austin area. And so it really hasn't started yet. It starts this upcoming, this in next month. Yes, in September. But I think it was just really important to me that we had that, and I couldn't find it. Everybody had co-ops, especially once we came here after the, lockdown and shutdowns. People, things started happening again, but no homeschool groups. And as I began to talk to people, like, we're a part of different homeschool communities where our choir is majority homeschoolers, while they cater to kids who are in private school and public. I don't know how, because it's on Fridays in like the middle of the day. But I don't know. It's open to whoever comes, but they're all pretty much all homeschoolers. So I
okay.
found a great community with them, and I love like the people there and the things that we get to talk about. And while talking to them, I realized I thought I was just not searching well enough. They were telling me that there is no homeschool group. So I'm trying to figure out, what do y'all? I know everybody has a co-op. I'm not really, I don't want to do co-ops right now. And so they were just like, yeah, there's no group. That's just not, the ones that were around, they kind of died out. So that's kind of been the story of what I hear. And while this one is at our church, I just needed something. And so, because when we go somewhere and we don't see what we want, we make that thing happen. So that's what happened.
That's what you should do, Janet. You should create
Absolutely. Janet, you got this. Even if it's just something small, just, a few families like, hey, do you want to do a park day on this day? We go, maybe it's not maybe it's every other week, maybe it's once a month, and it starts to, or you guys, have a chain of messaging. Hey, we're going to this place for a field trip. You guys want to join us? So I've realized a lot of it starts that way. Like, hey, we're going here on this date. Do you want to join us? Or whatever it is. And that's how a lot of homeschool groups kind of start. And then they turn into this big thing, right? And so
like churches.
like churches. And so in this case, the goal is to point, we're all there in faith, like we all believe, as Christ is being our center, right? In our homes, and also in our homeschools. And so that being the focus, and also homeschooling, is really important for us. So wherever you're at in life, community is always important. To co-op or to not co-op, whenever you decide, but community is a must.
Yeah, I agree. Community is a must. And if I can give y'all one more perk for co-op, um, it is that you can make friends that your kids grow up with, and also it's usually a great place to have a graduation. So that's another good perk to it. We've done that with our older kids, and we loved that. That was really cool. It's a small class, and one year, my second son, he was the only one to graduate. Uh, but there was a whole community of people there to see him graduate. So it wasn't just like, just us and him, and we're just like, yay. It was actually a whole community. I mean, a couple hundred of people, I think, 100, 200 people there. And so that was really cool. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Wow.
that is another perk because I don't know if I did co-op justice. Sorry.
You know what? And I didn't say the kind of just says not for me, but listen, Janet said that they graduate. Her son graduated college, but she's always looking for ways to help other homeschoolers. Like she's done. All the way
Really?
done. Yeah, she's done.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you still had smaller kids. Huh.
But she's still encouraging other homeschoolers. That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
awesome.
that. I have a couple friends that do that, and I think that is so amazing. I wonder if I'm gonna be that parent, but I've been homeschooling for so long. I don't know. I've been making plans for my life though, so we'll see when that career ends. Because I think it's gonna be really hard. Like, you know how it is. Janet, you probably went through it. You've done this for so long. It's such a intricate part of your life. Just letting it go. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm trying to distract myself for when that time comes. I got time though. My youngest is 9. I got time.
Yeah.
All right. So did we want to touch any other topic beforehand before we get ready to go? Oh, that's
Um.
smart.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe get them in a group and get a group started. That would be amazing. You've got the
The nice,
experience.
yeah, I was about to say that you got the experience, and because you're not, nobody's gonna worry about you making, playing favoritism or anything like that because you don't have any children. You're just able to like be nonpartisan, and that's pretty nice. It's yeah, you would be a good person for that.
Yes, the wisdom that you could pass down is gonna help so many of the women there, and just not just women, their families. I say women because moms are usually one homeschooling, but
Well,
families in
in
general.
our group, we've got dads doing it because, yeah, the environment's changing.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. And they're patient too. We got dads, girl, teaching algebra. I was like,
At your co-op?
yeah, yes,
Oh wow,
yeah. There's quite
nice,
a few dad teachers, which is really nice. It helped with some of the cattiness this year. Yeah, it helped. Yeah,
good.
so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's nice to throw the men in there. We need them
I
so
think
badly.
so. Yeah, they're important. They have a different style of teaching, but it's an important style of teaching. And boy, do those boys act right in their classes. Wow.
No problems.
My class and the guys' classes, the boys have no problems. But then, well, also to the leader, because she is a known mess. She don't be playing that. So yeah. But
Nice.
yeah. Anyway, so did you want to tackle any other questions?
Um. Ooh, Janet says we're giving her ideas. Yes, take them and run with it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have anything else. That was really all I had. I think it would be really nice to. I made a post a little bit ago about what the next stage for homeschool moms, because we've been running into so many more homeschool moms who have finished up their journey, and they're like, this is hard. Like, what is my life? Or at the end of their homeschooling journey, and they're trying to figure out what's next. I would love to just pick Janice's brain so that our people, our homeschool moms that are toward the end of their journey could see what's next after homeschooling. Like, what do I do? I know it's hard. Um, that's kind of really been the census from what people have been telling us. So eventually, I don't know if we're even
Nobody's made it sound easy.
no one has made it sound. I know it's not going to be easy, but no, but I'm like, I need someone who's transitioning well. Like, that's what I need. Like, they've transitioned well to the next, like, their path for them. So, like how you were saying, I'm making plans for myself. I need to find out who that person is. They made plans for themselves, and they're in that career. The only other person I know you know Linda Ann, who's a counselor friend of ours. But
She didn't homeschool, did she?
she didn't homeschool. She was a stay-at-home mom. That
I see.
Steve, friend Steve. Um, Linda Ann was a host. She was not a homeschooler, but she was a stay-at-home mom, and
Hmm.
so it was a similar feeling, right? But obviously it feels different because her kids are in school. But I need to know who is
I think so.
homeschooling. Like she went on. She's been my my role model in like making sure I'm living in this season and enjoying it, but
Hmm.
also knowing like I have another season to look forward to when this is over. Um, she never said it was easy either. Not that she said it.
Mm.
So I know it wouldn't be easy, but I need to see someone that's like, you know, enjoying this next season. No one, I don't know that I found anyone that's enjoying it.
I, okay. So obviously, my youngest is still at home. My two youngest. I have my three youngest are still at home, but I mean, like, I still have two kids that I'm homeschooling. What I have found so far, which I'm not saying that it don't sting, but I marvel and love seeing my boys live their adult lives. Like, I think that's one of the focuses. I really feel Lot's wife's story coming there. Not that we don't cherish those memories of our children and that season of our life, but what we instilled into our children to give them this new life is really, so that they get to do what we got to do. I think maybe that's kind of the focal point there. Like, I gave you all these tools, gave you the best advantage, better than I had. Not to say anything against my parents, but like, I took what they did a little bit better and gave you something better. You
Mhm.
take it and you go forward. You go through, you know what I'm saying? And so if we focus on that, our kids get to do these things and not what we're losing, but what they're gaining, I
Yeah.
feel like we'll feel better. It's like pain with purpose, like birth, right? It's
Yeah.
painful, but it's with purpose. And I feel like that's gonna feel better. I'll let you know when I get there. But you and I actually will be there at the same
Be there at
time.
the
So
same
I don't
time.
know. Like, you'll be a year difference than I am, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, but I feel like, I mean, so far with my older kids, like, I miss them. Obviously, I miss them a lot, but man, do I love relationship. I love seeing them in their grown up life. Like, it's pretty awesome, guys. Like, once you get there, Janet, I'm sure you can also chime in on that. It's a really cool thing seeing your adult children adulting. You're like, it's amazing. And then, like, even when you look at their faces, like, I have all boys, so I don't get to see my face as much, but I see my dad's face or I see my husband's face in them. I see them looking like men, and I'm like, oh man, this is so amazing. And they're adulting way better than we were at that age. Whew, praise God. I'm so happy about that. Yes,
Oh, nice.
need to love it. So yeah, I think that's a goal. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's what I'm doing right now. It's working. Knocking on wood. I'm sure my last one's gonna crush me though.
Where I'm not there yet. Obviously, I'm so far from that, but I think that it goes so quickly, and I really want other moms who are in that stage, right? You know, or going into that to have some encouragement. Like they don't. They've all said the same thing. Like there's no community for them, and that
Yeah.
like they've had it this whole time, and now it's gone.
Hmm.
And so they really have to. They're starting from scratch.
It feels like our young adult children. There's a lack of community for our young adult children in multiple arenas, whether it's the homeschool arena, the church arena, and like, you can. It's really hard to find it, right? I feel
Yes.
like that's the same thing for the empty nesting mom, especially the homeschool mom. And I did not realize this was such a thing, but like, our friend Becky, when she was talking about it, and then realizing, and then our friend Michelle. the lady Nutshell that we met. I mean, just so
Mhm.
many people talking about it, and I was like, oh, this is a thing. So yeah, I do think
Yeah.
we need to figure that out, guys. We need to like have that may be addressed, and maybe as we mature, that'll be our next YouTube channel.
Right. Life after homeschool.
Life after homeschool. That's
Mom,
a book.
mom life after homeschool. That's what it should be. So that
Trademark. That's
is that how that works? You just shout it out and then just now
you
it's
just gotta
yours.
prove that it's not the not trademark, it's the yeah. You just gotta prove that you did it first. It's
Oh
live on
gosh.
YouTube. Like, don't nobody use that.
It's sealed here.
Damn.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We'll just mail it to ourselves, and it's like the poor man's way of patenting things, right?
If you say
Never
so.
heard that one. It is.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining us on this journey of many topics, but we stayed on topic for each topic. So if my
Absolutely.
husband happens to watch this, I want him to like congratulate us on that.
A win is a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win, Michael. And
Yes.
most of you don't know, we both have Michael. So her Michael is Michael, and my Michael is Mike. Both our husbands' names are Michaels. So we don't both have them, but I guess
We are sister wives.
we're not sister wives. Do
And that's
not
why you
believe
guys
the
are so
lies,
close.
huh?
Oh, he's on there.
Steve said, "Oh my, thanks, Michael, for chiming in." That was her Michael chiming in.
That was my Michael. Oh
Can
man,
you
he was gonna tell
comment,
me so
Michael,
many
if you
things
believe
today.
we've stayed on task? Because clearly you've been hanging in there with us. We've stayed on
No,
topic,
yeah,
girl.
no.
So that's kind of been a pet peeve. So of some people. He said, wow. Anyway, because of her sister wife comment, I'm sure. We're not sister wives. We both are married to two different men.
Yes,
Both their names start with Michael, and we have different last names.
we do.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you all for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Janet, you have like just blessed my heart. The fact that you still join us, it's so encouraging. It's nice to have someone else to chat with, and everyone else that's been here, and Steve and Michael for commenting. So nice to have you all, and anyone else who's not saying anything. Not that you're required to, but we appreciate your presence. And if you're watching this later on, I hope that you have a blessed homeschool year and just be ready for more videos. I film things. They're just in limbo right now. They're coming out. They're coming.
And don't forget to visit our website, www.homeschoolific.com. Lavonda has put it in the chat box. You can just find it, or just go to our YouTube page. We're on YouTube, and you can find it there as well. Good luck to you. And oh yeah, I'll do a farm update at some point too. So, but it'll be sad, Steve. It'll be sad because your friends are gone. The cows are gone. It'll be an update later. You guys have a great day, a great weekend. Love y'all. Bye.
I love you guys.